Okay, this is part 5 of Quotes by Schopenhauer on education. He says that education in schools perverts the mind because it does the opposite of the natural. It forces opinions and conclusions and ideas into our minds first, and then observations last. This is why so few men of learning have much common sense, whereas common sense is common amongst the illiterate. So what he's basically saying is students are taught to make conclusions without even understanding what they're deciding about. In normal life, you observe something, you think about it, then you discuss it, and then you come to a conclusion. Not school like an animal, you're just taught to memorize and obey. Schopenhauer continues, much of the wisdom of one age is the folly of the next. Yeah, I'm an old guy in my 60s, and I can tell you I've seen exact moral statements contradicted from the past to now. And people just, the average person has no judgment, no knowledge, nothing. They just, whatever they're told, okay, that's the truth. As long as it's repeated, okay, that's the truth. Everybody knows that. Okay, Schopenhauer continues, style is the physiognomy of the mind and a safer index to character than the face. You can basically have a bunch of people hand in a bunch of papers, and all you got to do is read the first 3 paragraphs, and you can kind of tell how smart people are. There's just something different about the way a smart person writes. It's more unique. It's more individualistic. It's more confident. And I've seen that with nurses because I had to read a whole bunch of writings by nurses. And I kind of thought of them as all a bunch of generic nurses. I didn't really pay any attention to any of them. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this nurse can really write. And she was kind of like the smartest one. She was all moody. She got her own emotional problems, but she was smarter than the other ones. Okay, next one. Of all the faculties, intellectual faculties, judgment is the last to mature. Yep, that's one of the good things about getting older, is you can be smarter, you can be a better writer. You can't be as strong as you were when you were young or as good looking as you were when you were young, but you can keep on becoming wiser and a better writer. Schopenhauer, the younger we are, the more each individual object represents for us the whole class to which it belongs. Yeah. Like when I was in high school, I had a beautiful blonde girlfriend. And I remember my father one time said, oh, something about the blonde. And I'm like, Dad, that's not the way you should speak about her. She's a person. She's my future wife. And to him, she was just a category. And now that I've known enough of him, I understand the idea of a category. Okay. Schopenhauer, there is no absurdity so palpable but that it may be firmly planted in the human head if only you will begin to inculcate it before the age of 5 by constantly repeating it with an air of great solemnity. Okay, sure, you can teach a kid religion at a young age and it'll stick with them. The Jesuits knew that as well. But it's also true for everything else. Kids are brainwashed into a whole bunch of nonsense. That's why they want to get them into preschool and kindergarten so they can start destroying their brains. The sooner the better, the public schools. Schopenhauer, to marry for a man is to half his freedoms and double his responsibilities. There is no opinion, however absurd, which men will not readily embrace as soon as they can be brought to the conviction that it is generally adopted. Yes, I'm the opposite. The average IQ in the USA, what is it, about 95? Okay, so whenever somebody tells me everybody knows that, usually that means it's not true. And whatever everybody thinks and does, that usually means it's a bad thing. Like, everybody likes to drink a little bit. No, only stupid people drink alcohol. Okay. No one shows himself as he is, but wears his mask and plays his part. Indeed, the whole of our social arrangements may be likened to a perpetual comedy. And this is why a man who is worth anything finds society so insipid, while a blockhead is quite at home in it. It is a wise thing to be polite. It is stupid to be rude. It is stupid to make enemies by unnecessary and willful incivility is insane. People of very great ability will, as a rule, get along better with people of very limited ability, rather than with people of ordinary ability, for the same reason that grandchildren and grandparents are natural allies. Okay. Friends and acquaintances are the surest passport to fortune. Yeah, if you got friends, connections, they're more likely to promote you or do a favor for you than anybody else, really. What I've sadly noticed as I've gotten older is America's become less and less of a meritocracy. Most institutions have been taken over by the left, and the goal of the left is just to destroy the institution. So the last thing they want is talented, intelligent people. They always want some form of BS, and they're going to call it diversity, affirmative action or something. But like I said, affirmative action is not true. If affirmative action was legitimate and somebody was actually trying to help minorities or something, I would have 1,000,000 job offers and 1,000,000 phone calls. I'm the smartest minority doctor in the whole world. I'm Puerto Rican, okay? Nobody calls me. Nobody is contacting me. Nobody wants me to teach minority students. Nobody wants me to do anything, okay? Well, if there was a legitimate desire to help minorities, I would be the first person to contact, but nobody's trying to contact me. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's BS. I've been around minority stuff all my life, and I can assure you, they want stupid people easy to control that will do as they are told. They don't want to help minorities. They don't want smart minorities. Come on, that's well known. Smart minorities are always getting in trouble. Look at Tyrone Hayes. They take away his funding, discredit him, things like that. Okay, next one. Whoever has abandoned hope, whoever is abandoned by hope has also been abandoned by fear. This is the meaning of desperate. The benefit of money is being able to buy free time for study. Yeah, basically, I wish I had more money, because having money increases what you could do. I can make my little YouTube channel, but I'm totally shadow banned and ostracized. I can write my books, but they're totally shadow banned and ostracized. So you can only do so much. Having money enables you to be free. You don't have to work in some tedious job just to make money. Schopenhauer, geniuses end up being alone. That's part true. It's not completely true. Schopenhauer on speaking, whoever wants his judgment to be believed should express it coolly. Knowledge is by its nature cold. Passion in these matters is to be avoided, because vehemence springs from the will. Vehement statements might be attributed to the will and not be believed. Yep. He says, before you take anything away, you must have something better to put in its place. Okay, so that's it for part 5 of Schopenhauer quotes. Hope you found that helpful.